Hi, and welcome to Movement Mondays. I'm Alex Weaver. For today's class, all you need is your yoga mat or towel or just a comfortable area on the floor that you can do exercises on, a sturdy chair or something that you can sit on and put your full body weight on, your water, and then if you have resistance bands or an object that weighs, I would say between like 5 and 15 pounds, depending on what is the appropriate weight for you. We're going to be using it for bent over rows. So you can also do them seated with a band. I'll give multiple variations. And if you don't have an object that you can use as a weight for today's class, no worries, I will give you alternatives. So go ahead and grab your mat, your water, whatever else you need. I'm going to double check that everything on the screen looks good. And we'll get started here in just a minute. All right, so like I said, we're going to get started here in just a second. All right. So as always, if you have questions, you need me to repeat something, feel free to comment on the stream and I will take a look and see if I need to go over something again. For those of you who missed the beginning, so for today's class, all you need is yourself, some water, some space, maybe a yoga mat or a towel, something comfortable to be on the floor with. If you have an object that you can use as a weight, or maybe dumbbells or a kettlebell if you're one of the people who have those at home, and or resistance bands or an object. If you don't have any of those things, don't stress about it. The only thing you really need is yourself, your yoga mat, some space, and water. And a sturdy chair. So we're going to start today's class with some breathing like we usually do. Today I'm going to do some cadence breathing where I'm going to count for us. So for those of you who've done my class before, you know that when I talk about breathing, I talk about how we breathe. So I want everyone to think about breathing deeply. And when I say breathing deeply, I mean getting a deep belly breath where you're feeling your belly expand, you're feeling your lateral ribs expand, maybe even some low back expansion, and then the chest is rising. So it's not just like that shallow breath where you breathe really big into your chest, but not into your lower part of your abdomen. You want to really fill the entirety of your lungs. Also, if it's possible, try to do the breathing activities we do at the beginning with nasal breathing only. I know that's not possible for everyone, but if it is something that works for you, try it. So, without further ado, we are going to do 5 rounds of 4-6 and 5 rounds of 6-8 breathing. So we've done a lot of different variations now. This one, so the first number 4 is going to be your inhale. So I'm going to do a 4 count for you to inhale, and then I'm going to pause for a second, not long. It'll literally just be for me to say exhale, and then you'll exhale for 6. So we'll do that for 5 rounds, and then we'll switch, and then we'll do a 6 count inhale and an 8 count exhale. You might find those counts to be challenging. If that is the case, just do your best with them, but really try to think of filling up all the space in your lungs and then emptying fully each round. So let's go ahead and get started. So find a comfortable seat. Make sure you're sitting so that you're able to breathe deeply. You can also lay on your back with your knees bent if you'd like. Or you can even start on a couch. So whatever feels comfortable for you. And so we're all just going to take a deep breath in. So, and exhale. All right. So inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're increasing a little bit here. So ready? Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So just notice how you feel. You might feel more calm. You might feel more energized. You might feel like that was a really long time to exhale. Any of those feelings are valid. So just notice how you feel, and we're going to move into some warm-up here. So on your mat or on your towel, go ahead and come into a tabletop position. So hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We're going to start with some cat-cows. So inhale, drop your belly, look forward, and then exhale. Bring your spine up to the ceiling, tuck the chin. We're going to do a set of 5. So with your breath here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and flip on over. So still on your mat, feet are going to be hip width apart. You can bring them closer to your butt if you'd like. But you can play around with the distance to see what feels good for you. Engage your core so that you're pulling your spine flush to the ground. So try not to have any arch in your back. And we're going to try to keep our core engaged so we don't arch through this movement. So hands can be at your sides. You can either inhale when you come up and exhale when you come down, or vice versa. But try to do this movement with your breathing. We're going to engage our glutes and hamstrings and come up, hold for 2 seconds, and back down for a set of 12. So for 12 reps, starting now. Last one. Perfect. Go ahead and come to a seated position again. So you can take one hand, put it behind your back, and then very gently pull your neck, your head away from the arm that's behind your back. Maybe take a couple deep breaths here. Pull your head forward just a little bit. And switch sides. I don't know how sensitive the microphone is on my phone, but my stomach is growling. So if you hear some growling sounds, it might just be because I'm hungry. So, and then go ahead and shift, pull your head down just a little bit. Perfect. So go ahead and come to a standing position, or you can remain seated if that feels better for you. We're gonna do some arm forward, arm forward, arm circles forwards. So coming forwards, you can start with some small circles, maybe start to make them bigger. You can alternate between little small circles and bigger circles, just warming up those shoulders. Switch directions, go backwards. Keep up with that deep breathing. And then rest those arms. Widen your stance so that your feet are at least hip width apart, if not wider. And we're going to sit into a deep squat stretch. So it's okay if your squat doesn't look as deep as mine. That's totally fine. You can take your elbows and press them out against your knees like this, or you can grab your toes. Or if your squat looks more like this, then hang out here. You can put your hands on the floor, whatever you need to do. But find what feels good for your body. You can shift back and forth a little bit. And then after a few seconds, we're going to pop right up into a hamstring stretch. You can bend your knees a little bit if you need to. Shift your hips a little bit. Just going to hang out here. You can let your head hang. And then back down into that squat. So again, playing around with movement. And then coming up into a hamstring stretch. And one more time, back into that deep squat stretch. If you can and you want to, you can do some rotations here. It's up to you. And then one more time, you can roll it all the way up nice and slow, or pop right back up. And then we're going to do a calf stretch and maybe a hip flexor stretch today. We'll see. But let's start with calf. So if you have a wall or a chair or something, a lot of people have tight calves for a number of reasons, but it's really common. So what you can do is you can take your foot, press it against that. You can lock your knee, or you can slightly bend your knee, but you want to find where you feel the most stretch. So for me, excuse me, it's when my knee is locked. So I'm going to lock my knee, slowly lean forward until I feel that stretch in my calf, which my calf is here. For those of you who are wondering where your calf is, take a few deep breaths here. If they feel really tight, it might be good to do some static stretching where you're holding for at least 30 seconds after this class today, but we're not going to do that right now. So just a few deep breaths. Go ahead and switch legs if you haven't already. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to do two more things, and then we're going to get started here with circuit one. I'm going to walk us through. So we're going to do some hip circles. So you can go back to that tabletop position we were in to start. So if it bothers you to be on your wrists like this, you can always be on fists, or you can also, if you have dumbbells, you can use them as handles. So again, go ahead and center yourself, and then whichever leg you want. I'm going to start with my right because it's facing the camera. You can lift that knee towards your elbow, make a big circle, and then come all the way back. So we're just going to do 5 per side. So nice and slow, big circle, forward and backward. Great, so go ahead and switch sides. So same thing. You might feel your core activating during these, that's a good thing. So again, pressure into your hands, into the other knee. Spread your fingers nice and wide and make sure you have active fingers. It's going to help take the pressure out of your wrist. And then same thing, other side hip circles. You also might have significantly different ranges of motion. Just work with what you've got on each side. As you can see, this is my tight side. Perfect. Okay, last but not least, so take your knees a little bit wider, bring your toes together, reach your hands forward, and then bring your hips back into child's pose. And take a few deep breaths. If you're not wearing a hat, you can put your forehead on the ground. All right. So grab a sip of water. We are going to start today's circuit. So backing up for a second here. So for those of you who have done squats before, you know that we have switched so that the first round of each circuit, we'll do a demonstration of the exercise, then we'll do the exercise. Demonstration, exercise for all 4. We'll rest, and then we'll repeat the whole thing. So that's what we're doing today. So same thing. So circuit 1 today is single leg RDLs or deadlifts, bird dogs, rows with an object or a band, or YTAs, and then plank with rotation or static plank variations. So we're going to start with the single leg RDLs. We've done these a few times. Sorry, I'm thirsty. You want to keep in mind that we are hinging, so this is a hip dominant movement. So my shin is staying perpendicular to the floor. I'm allowing my leg to travel back. I'm bringing tension into my hamstring and my glute. My core is engaged, and then I'm coming back. So if that feels really challenging to you, what you can start with is a couple things. Number 1, you can reach for the wall, like this. Or you can use, so I'll use this rack as an example. You can hold onto the rack, come down, and up. So you want to have a slight bend in that knee. So slight bend, allowing that hamstring and glute to really do the work here. But also imagining as if your other leg and your torso are a straight line. So you're really hinging together. So we're going to do 30 seconds per leg here. So actually, you know what? We're going to do 40. We'll do 30 seconds per leg. As I look at the time. So 30 seconds per leg here. So 10-second countdown, and we will start with these RDLs. Go. Oh, and if you're struggling with these RDLs and you want to just balance on one leg, you can also do that. I failed to mention that. So you can also do some balance work right now. Speaking of balance. All right, switch sides. 10-second countdown. Go. If your balance is struggling today, mine definitely is. All right, so next up, we're gonna do a set of bird dogs. So we're gonna come back to that tabletop position. Sorry, I'm just resetting the clock here. Okay, so back to that tabletop position. And then we're going to extend opposite arm, opposite leg, keeping our core engaged. If you find it too difficult to do arms and legs together, you can also just start with just extending your leg and keeping both hands on the ground. So whatever works for you, 10 seconds. And go. All right. Okay. So next up, we are doing rows with an object or band or YTAs. So I'm going to start with the YTAs because I'm already on the ground. So YTAs, land on your stomach. You can rest your forehead on the ground. You are going to lift only your arms. Arms start in a wide position. You're going to engage the back of your shoulders to come up, back to the ground, slide on over to T, raise, back down to A, squeeze, back down. And then slide all the way back to Y, like you're making a snow angel. And then again, squeeze the shoulders Y, shift, squeeze the shoulders T, shift, squeeze the shoulders A. So if you do not have equipment, try the YTAs. If you have an object, you're going to do bent over rows today. So I'm just going to grab a kettlebell for this. So your object doesn't have to necessarily have handles or be shaped a certain way. You just have to be able to grip both sides of it. So you're going to sit back into your hips into a hinge. So if you're having difficulty finding that hinge position, you can stick your fingers literally where your hips bend and push your hips back until you find that flat back position. And then you're just pulling shoulder blades down and back. Elbows are going to come towards your side body. So that is an option for weighted. You also have the option to do with a band. So if you want to do them bent over with a band, similar premise. You can wrap the band around your hand. You're in that hinge position. You're rowing, coming back, rowing, coming back. Or, third option here, band around your feet, just like this, squeezing, releasing. So, any of those options are fine. Remember, YTAs are the no equipment option here. So, 10-second countdown, your choice. I'm going to do the bent over rows, I think. Great job. Okay, so last but not least for circuit one, we're going to do planks with rotation. So let me back up. So if you're newer to planks, start with a static plank. So don't jump straight into the rotational plank. So static plank just means you're not moving. So options to start would be, you can start on a wall with your hands on the wall, like this. You can do even forearms on the wall. And then you can start to move that angle down. So the more flat to the ground you are, the harder it gets. So then you have this option on the bench or on forearms, and then you can continue moving down. You can do a kneeling plank like this, or you can do forearm. But ultimately, you can either do plank like this or like this. This is going to be the most difficult variation. So you are making sure that you're keeping that core engaged. You don't want your low back to arch. So you can either hold or you can move. If you are doing the plank with rotation, you can either do on your hands or on, looks like we cut out for a second. I think we're back. If you're doing the plank with rotation, you can do either on your hands or on your forearms. If you're on your forearms, you want to start with your feet a little wide. You're shifting over onto the sides of your feet, opening up, look where you're opening, and then coming back through. So each time you're returning to that center plank position, on your hands, it looks very similar. You're shifting over, opening, shifting, and opening. So we're going to do this for 45 seconds. Take breaks as you need. You can rest in a static plank if you're doing the rotations and you need to. 10-second countdown. And go. Great job. All right. So grab some water. That was circuit 1. We're going to repeat all 4 of those things, and then we'll move on to circuit 2. I don't know if anyone pays this much attention to what I'm doing, but this is the first class that I've worn shoes for in like a while, because I usually work out barefoot in the gym, and it's weird to be wearing shoes, and I probably won't do it again. We'll see. So, moral of that story is, if you prefer to work out barefoot at home, you should do it. It's really great to ground and connect with the earth, and also it's helpful in terms of feedback because you're able to see in real time what's happening with your foot and ankle. So, especially if you feel like you have a little bit of like ankle instability, try doing these things barefoot, paying attention to your arch, paying attention to, are you trying to grip with your toes? Is your weight in your heels, in the front of your foot? It'll give you a lot of good information about your body and how things are working. So, okay, we're going to repeat circuit 1. We are starting with a single leg RDLs. So, let me reset the timer. We're going to do 30 seconds per leg again. I'm also going to turn the fan up. It's a little warm in here today. All right. The 10-second countdown. Back to these single leg RDLs or single leg balance, your choice. And go. 10-second countdown. Switch sides. Great job. Okay, so let me reset the timer. Next up, we have bird dogs for 45 seconds. 10-second countdown. And go. All right. So rows with an object or band. I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to use a band seated this time. Again, if you aren't doing rows, you can do YTAs. So if you don't have equipment, feel free to swap that out. So 10-second countdown. Also, if you don't want to do YTAs, you do arm circles for 45 seconds. So the world is your oyster. And go. Great job. Okay, so last but not least here we have the rotational planks. So 45 seconds, or do a static plank. Remember, you can pause and adjust as you need. And go. Great job. All right, grab some water. I'm going to start to talk about Circuit 2 in just a second. But first, I was just thinking about how 1 year ago, when we first made this class virtual, if you've been doing this class for the entire pandemic, you might remember that this was the month that I broke my wrist. And so when we started coaching this class, I actually couldn't demonstrate a lot of things because my wrist was in a cast. And then a brace after the fact. But anyways, I just thought of that while we were doing those single arm planks. So look at how far we've come. 1 year. All right, so circuit 2 today. We are doing, speaking of arms, we are doing push-ups, curtsy lunges, or honestly any lunge or step-up variation you want. The curtsy lunge might not feel good for some people, but I'm going to give you options, so don't stress about it. Super people or cobras, so either of those. And then toe touch crunches, or honestly, again, any crunch variation. So circuit 2, we're going to start with push-ups. So let's start by talking about push-ups. Again, the closer you are to the ground, the harder it gets, the more parallel you are. So if you want to work on your push-up strength, but aren't really ready to do kneeling push-ups or incline push-ups, start on the wall. So you want your hands to be a little lower than you might think. If you put them up here, you're going to end up doing a tricep dip situation instead of push-up. So a little bit lower, elbows are going to come out at a 45-degree angle, and you're going to press through your chest. So when I say 45, I mean my elbows are coming out here. They're not at 90. They're not right next to my body. My shoulders aren't creeping up. I'm getting my shoulder blades down and back, and my elbows are sweet spot in between being up here and really close to my body. So next step, if the wall push-ups start to feel really manageable, is you can try some incline. So incline can be a chair, it can be stairs, it can be whatever, but same thing, lowering and pressing. From there, your next step is going to be either a kneeling push-up or maybe a push-up negative, which we've done before in this class as a specific drill. So maybe stick with kneeling push-ups today. But again, you want your hands to end almost in your armpits and then press back up. And then last but not least, obviously, you have your standard push-up. So hands wider than your chest, in a plank position, lowering and pressing back up. So whichever of those works for you. And we're going to start with push-ups. So 10-second countdown. And go. Woo! All right. Great work. Okay. So curtsy lunge. This is what I was talking about a second ago. I'm going to move my mat out of the way for this. So you have a couple options. You don't have to necessarily do the curtsy lunge here, right? But I'm going to start with that, and then I'll give some other options. So curtsy lunge. I hope you can't see my feet. Let me see how far. Okay. So curtsy lunge, you are stepping back into the side. So first thing that you'd want to be able to do this curtsy lunge is probably step straight back into a reverse lunge. So if reverse lunges aren't comfortable for you, chances are that the curtsy lunge is definitely not going to be comfortable. So hold on and I'll give you another option. If reverse lunges feel okay to you, you can try the curtsy lunge. Curtsy lunge, you are stepping back into the side. You'll see my front knee is coming out a little bit, and then I'm coming back through. So it really does look kind of like a curtsy, which is why it's called a curtsy lunge. And so you're just stepping back and to the side. So if I'm stepping back with my right leg, I'm reaching towards my left. So that's a curtsy lunge. Obviously, you can just do a reverse lunge. It's the same thing, where you're just stepping back. You can do a forward lunge, so stepping forward. I don't know why I turned to the side for that. Keep your core engaged. Try not to step really far, but also you don't want to be really close. So find that sweet spot where you're creating two 90-degree angles here and here, and that's going to be where you want to work. If lunges are not your thing, step ups. You can use your sturdy chair, you can use stairs, you can use a yoga block. You are just going to step up, alternating legs, and back down. So stepping up and down. Try to drive your movement from the foot that's on here and not from the leg on the ground. Don't launch yourself with this leg. Drive from this leg. Third option here, if none of those speak to you, do sit to stands. So you have this bench or chair or whatever. You are squatting, so sitting, and then standing. And that's it. So you're just sitting and standing. You can obviously also do squats, but that's going to be kind of like the variation to get you moving. So any of those work. We're going to start with these curtsy lunges, or at least I'm going to. But again, find what works for you. 10-second countdown. And go. Great job. Okay, so super people or cobra. So you might want to roll your yoga mat back out if you just moved it like I did. So for these, you are laying on your stomach, similar to the YTAs. For super people, you are extending your arms out. You're engaging your core, squeezing your glutes and hamstrings to come up, bringing arms and legs off the ground and back down. It helps to inhale when you come up and exhale when you come down. If that doesn't feel good for you, you can do some cobras where you line your hands up. And you pull your elbows back, line your hands up next to your chest. Bring the tops of your feet into the floor so your legs don't move for this. And then you're just coming up and back down. So try not to strain through your neck, so keep a neutral neck. You can look towards the ground. You're just coming up and back down. You can help with your hands a little bit. But either variation of those, we're going to do 45 seconds here. So 10-second countdown. And go. All right. Last but not least here, you have your toe touch crunches, or honestly, any crunch variation you want. So for toe touch crunches, you are flipping your hat around. I'm just kidding. You are laying on your back, legs up. You can exhale as you crunch up. In general, when you're crunching, if you exhale, it's easier because you are contracting your core to exhale as you contract it to come towards. For these toe touch crunches, you can have your arms up. You can exhale to come up, You don't have to actually touch your crunches. Touch your toes. You can just crunch up as far as possible. But if you can, crunch towards those toes, like so. And we'll do this for 45 seconds. Other crunch variations, you can do knees like this, feet on the ground. If crunches bother your low back, you can extend one leg and crunch like this, and then just switch which leg is extended occasionally. That helps limit the lumbar flexion. So anything that works for you, 10-second countdown. And we are crunching. And go. Okay, grab some water. We're gonna try to be quick. And then we're gonna come right back to circuit 2, run through it, then you have 2 things and we're done for today. So one day one of this class will actually be done on time, but today is not that day. So we're gonna go a little past 6:45, sorry. I blame technology. So a few more seconds of rest, and we are starting back up with the push-ups. So a reminder that I don't remember if I said last round, if you start to feel like you need a break with the push-ups, you have 2 options. You can plank, or you can switch to kneeling. So or switch to like the different variation of the push-ups, or you can just lay on the ground. Any of those options are fine. But don't be afraid if you're doing push-ups in a full plank to switch to a kneeling push-ups as you start to fatigue. I will probably do that this round. So 10-second countdown, return to your mats for push-ups. And go. Great job. That was hard. Okay, so curtsy lunges or lunge variation or step up or squat to sit or sit to squat, any of those options. 10-second countdown. And go. So super people or cobras. Feel free to switch it up this round. If you did super people last round and you'd like to do cobras this round, do it. 10-second countdown. Go. And last but not least, toe touch crunches or any crunch variation you want. I personally am going to switch it up. You are welcome to do the same. So 10-second countdown, any crunch variation you'd like. All right. Feel free to lay on your mat for a second here. Maybe grab your water if it's within reach. We have 2 things left. So we're going to do a 30-second 6-inch hold, and then 30 seconds of jumping jacks, and then you're done for today. So, and you have the option of doing walking or jumping jacks, or really just, you can even dance for 30 seconds. Totally up to you. So, I am adjusting the timer. For those of you who don't know what a 6-inch hold is, so you're going to take your hands and place them under your butt. You can start with your legs here, and then slowly lower until you find a spot where your core is really engaged, which for some people might be a little higher. So if you start to feel like it's hard when you're here, then maybe that's where you hold today. If down here is more your style, that's fine. The key here is that you want to make sure that you are not arching your low back. So really keeping that core engaged. And the hands under the butt are going to help with that. Make it a little easier. If you want to make this harder, you can do a hollow hold, which is same thing, but hands are free. So for that hollow hold, you can start here for an easier, and then as you extend your arms overhead, it gets harder. So I'm actually going to try to do a 30-second hollow hold. We'll see if that happens today. Everyone else is welcome to do whatever feels great, and 10-second countdown. All right, so last but not least, we are doing 30 seconds of jumping jacks. Walking jacks, for those who are wondering, you can do a walking jack where you're just kind of like making it your own thing. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But if jumping is not your thing, feel free to modify. And this is your last thing of the day. So 10-second countdown. And go. All right. So that is your workout for today. So thank you all for coming to this class. Again, my name is Alex Weaver. I am coach and owner of Alien Athletes. This class happens every Monday at 6 p.m. right here. Hopefully sometime in the next few months in the future we can be in person again. But for now, here we are, virtual. So thank you all for going to class today. Thank you, Venomous, for sponsoring this class. And I hope to see you all next Monday at 6 p.m. Thanks, y'all.